Inductive and deduction research approach.
Topics we are going to cover in this video. Inductive and deductive in research. Inductive, deductive reasoning examples. Inductive versus deductive reasoning characteristics. Usage of inductive, deductive reasoning.
Inductive and deductive procedures are used in research, according to Babi, 1998. Inductive methods investigate the observed phenomena and find the general principles, structures, or processes underlying the thing seen, whereas deductive approaches validate the postulated principles through observations. The goals are different. One inductive approach is intended to produce explanations, while the other deductive method is intended to verify the validity of such explanations.
Inductive approach, observation, analysis, theory. Deductive approach, idea, observation, conclusion.
When there is a lack of previous literature on a topic, inductive research is typically performed. This is due to the fact that no existing theory can be tested on the topic. The 3 steps of the inductive training approach are:
observation, observe a pattern, develop a theory. Now look at example of inductive reasoning. Observation, pet dogs in my neighborhood are friendly. Observe a pattern, all observed dogs are friendly. Theory, all dogs are friendly. When doing research using deductive reasoning, you start with a theory. The theory is then refined into more precise hypotheses that may be tested. These are then narrowed down into observations that allow us to test the hypothesis to see if the evidence supports or rejects it. As a result, the deductive method may be divided into 4 steps. Step 1. Begin with an existing theory. Step 2. Formulate a hypothesis based on the existing theory. Step 3. Collect data to test the hypothesis. Step 4. Analyze the results to see whether the data supports or rejects the hypothesis. Now look at an example of deductive reasoning. Theory, all dogs are friendly. Hypothesis, all pet dogs in my neighborhood are friendly. Test hypothesis, observe all dogs in the neighborhood. Conclusion, 7 out of 23 dogs in the neighborhood were not friendly equals reject the hypothesis.
Inductive versus deductive reasoning characteristics. Inductive, it proceeds from a single observation to a larger and more generalized conclusion. Deductive, it begins with a broad statement and ends with a logical conclusion. Inductive, sometimes referred to as a bottom-up technique since it begins with an observation, detects patterns, develops a hypothesis, and leads to a conclusion/theory.
Deductive, commonly referred to as a top-down technique since it begins with a theory, narrows it down to a hypothesis, observes a hypothesis, and eventually leads to a logical affirmation.
Inductive, the validity of the premises does not imply the truth of the conclusion. Deductive, if the premises are true, the conclusion must be true in deductive reasoning.
When it comes to using inductive and deductive reasoning, the simple thing to remember is that inductive reasoning is quick and easy to apply, thus we use it every day. However, deductive reasoning is difficult to use in everyday life since we require data to back up our claims. We use inductive reasoning for everyday use, such as determining when you should leave your house for work based on the traffic, deciding on a special employee wellness program based on employee feedback.
Deductive reasoning is often used to solve a problem or make decisions, to determine what caused customer dissatisfaction and use it to offer the right solution. Designing a new store layout that will attract more customers and increase sales.
Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe the channel.